Welcome in, Scolders. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Someday Sports Podcast. We got myself here, Kevin, Tom, Pat, and Chris, all here to break down the latest and greatest Minnesota sports news, notes, everything you got to know. And it's that time of year. It's getting real exciting. Things are getting real heated here in the state of Minnesota. Spring's upon us. Snow's got things are warming up for the better, and I'm excited to let this draft be a big part of it. And how about those dang Timberwolves? 2-0, baby. Talk about the Suns being hot. Ooh.
Yeah, you guys all told me that this was the worst matchup we could have had. What the heck?
I smell some fake news coming from this podcast, and might be me.
I think that the Timberwolves team that we've seen over these first two games of the series has been completely different than what we saw in the regular season, particularly in the Suns matchup. So it's been fun. Kev, I think it's time to change the color of the logo, maybe a little blue and green. A few of us got a little Wolves apparel we're rocking tonight. So it's a good time to be a Timberwolves fan for sure.
Also, Pat, are you going to show us what jersey you're wearing?
You can see it.
Hoiberg? Oh, Mr.
nice.
Mayor.
Yeah.
The mayor.
All I see
Fred
are some
Hoiberg
tags,
with
some fresh tags.
With the tags on. I forgot to cut the tags off after game one, so we're running with a little string of luck here.
Where did you get that?
This was an eBay purchase, probably like 2 or 3 months ago, and I certainly do not regret it.
I want to know where they got a Hoiberg jersey with tags on it.
I don't know, but I was recently outbid for a Wolves Mark Madsen jersey. So if my bank account has anything to say about it, that will be joining the collection here shortly as well.
That's a great addition. Is it going to go right next to the Mark Madsen? What is that? The Russian doll collection?
The nesting dolls? I don't have those.
Yeah,
I actually
nesting
used to have
dolls.
those. Yep. I got to get those.
I
They
have-
also
I
have
have
Wally Zerbiak.
Oh,
And
jeez.
I
He's at the
think
game
Rasho
tonight.
Nasterovich also has them. I saw Wally
Rasho.
today.
Wally was there?
Let's bring all the Wolves guys back. Yeah, while he was there. I mean, it's just such a. We might as well just dive full on into it right now. I mean, such a failure on the Wolves front office and ownership. Look at all these teams. I mean, for Exhibit A, you look at the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. They're the number 2 seed in the East. Best season they've had in years since the Carmelo days. They have not only all of the celebrities that they usually have at the sideline, but they have so many former greats. Knicks legends at the game supporting the team, like invested in this year. Like Latrell Sprewell was there. It's so cool to see all of these former greats come to support the youth movement and what they have going. And then you look at a team like the Wolves, and we're just sitting here like, sure, it's really cool. We had a super good environment in game one. Game two, it seemed super vibrant as well, but like, just felt like there was something missing a little bit. And
Well, KG won't
show
up. Yeah, well, who do you want there, Kev?
who do you not want there?
I mean, it's
I
like
don't know.
KG, I guess Wally, and after that, I don't care if Sam Cassell's there. I don't care if Latrell Sprewell's there. Do you want Irvin Johnson there? Do you want Oliver Miller? I don't know.
Ricky
Davis?
Rubio.
Oh, he's back home.
Well,
Like-
I think we all saw it too. Game one, it wasn't the Timberwolves that brought out the stars, but we saw some Vikings past and current legends show up. We saw Adrian Peterson
let's get
courtside as
everyone
well as Justin Jefferson. So they have some star power
Sure.
that they can bring in, just not so much on the Timberwolves front, unless KG and Glenn somehow, some way make up.
Hell yeah.
All right, should we?
Yeah.
Are we doing some mock drafts now, or?
Well, I should just talk a little bit about how the Wolves have played so
Oh.
far. these first couple of games. I mean, I know not this whole podcast is fully bought in yet, so Pat and I can just sit here and really try to convince you guys the best we can. If that doesn't
Whoa, whoa,
work,
whoa! I'm in.
well, okay. So 3/4 of the podcast is in. 1/4 is still just way out and watching baseball when there's
Oh,
162 games in a season.
I'll
And
watch next round. We're just expected to win. So there's
oh,
nothing to see.
yeah, we're expected to
Like,
win against a team that we haven't matched up well against all year.
all I know is I was listening to Dan Barrero. No, my dad was when we were
Oh,
driving up north, and he was complaining about how Jaden McDaniels has no offense. And I just looked and saw that he had 25 points tonight. So that's pretty easy.
Is that good?
He's apparently really good.
he shut everyone up real quick. That's for sure.
He was
He,
incredible.
he was the reason we won the game, not only defensively like he has all year and all series, but offensively he really came alive with his mid-game pull-ups as well as, I mean, hit a couple of key threes. And you just look at the type of player he's developing. We really need that second, third, fourth scorer outside of it. Was pretty invisible for the majority of the game, and it was pretty sad to see. But at the same time, it wasn't sad because you looked around and you had Mike Conley just really stepping up when he needed to. You had, of course, Jaden McDaniels just really showing
Jaden Daniels.
not. We'll get to Jaden Daniels here in a bit. Jaden McDaniels proved that he can only play lockdown defense on Kevin Durant, but also be a factor on the other side of the court. And so many crucial guys just stepping up at key moments. I felt like it was a total team effort tonight. It wasn't necessarily one guy. Cat really was minimalized by fouls early. Played almost next to no minutes in the whole first half. And then Rudy Gobert is just a stalwart defensively. I felt like he's going to be that all series long. He's got to be that dominant presence that we need him to be. We have to win this series physically and down low. And I felt like he did that yet again. Sure, he didn't dominate on the boards as much as he did in game one, but you could definitely feel his presence around the rim. And the Suns were still scared to attack him. And
And
that's what we want.
can we stop with the Rudy Gobert is unplayable in the playoffs narrative too? Because what we saw in Utah, with Rudy Gobert not being surrounded by perimeter defenders, having to essentially try and guard the perimeter and the post all at once. This year with Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards on the perimeter, he is just an absolute menace. Like, we have seen him guard on the perimeter and fall back and guard the post. That narrative is so played out. And he's hitting his free throws too. I
Yeah,
think
free
for
throws.
the first 2 games, I believe he's only missed 2 free throws and has had nearly 20 attempts. So, man, Rudy is just making a huge, huge impact.
This was the most Wolves I've watched in the last 2 years since that Memphis Grizzlies series in 22 or whatever.
Missing out.
I have been. This was a lot of fun to watch. They were not hitting their shots early on, but this team plays great defense, great team defense. And then it's nice to have, shut down individual players like McDaniels and Gobert, but these guys rotate, they switch, and they can all defend. They can all defend, and it was so fun to watch. Pat and I were kind of talking earlier, just the two of us, but 28 points off of turnovers. That's incredible.
Yeah. That's
And-
where we make our bread and butter. I mean, you look at this coming into the series, we thought that the Suns would be the run and gun type team that would really try to get out in transition, take advantage of our size and our slow speed on transition and, up screens at the top of the key and really switching on some of their smaller shooters. But it's been just the opposite. I feel like we've really prospered in a lot of ways as far as the game plan's gone coming in. We've really taken that to the next level, and Chris Finch has done an amazing job with not only limiting to their top scorers. With, I mean, got his in the first game, sure, but you look at this last game. I mean, Beal really struggled from the field. Booker still has not been going at all. And I feel like nobody's gotten really a rhythm. And we're just pestering them on the perimeter and really just throwing them for a loop and not really have those key positions that they need to get those, easy shots that they're so accustomed to get. I mean, Grayson Allen, sure he's been injured, but he's been a non-factor.
Yeah, and I think the depth that the Timberwolves have too has just been so valuable in this series. We saw Carl head out early with foul trouble. When you have a Naz Reid that you can immediately plug in, when you have a Nickeil Alexander-Walker coming off the bench who can easily shut down opposing top scorers, it is just remarkable. And again, Kev, you just mentioned we saw Grayson Allen go down. The Suns do not have the depth that the Wolves have. So even in these games in a playoff series, when you see a lot of guys who are playing 40 plus minutes per game, the Wolves haven't had to, and part of this is due to foul trouble, but Carl hasn't needed to play a ton. I believe Mike Conley's junior's minutes tonight were just in the low 30s as well. So that depth that we have is just really remarkable and just showing how well of a roster Tim Conley is built. And I think this team even elevates more when you get to the playoffs. Like I think they're truly built for a playoff run, which is
we're only
really
going
exciting.
eight players deep so far. You saw a dabble of a little bit of 9 players deep in game 1 with Kyle Anderson. Him not playing tonight with that hip pointer, we really didn't see too much of a fall off. Obviously, his impact is mostly noticed on the defensive side of the ball. Really just that veteran presence that you're missing, but you didn't notice too much tonight. Sure, we were a little slow out of the get go from our second unit, getting Naz Reid going, Morris as well. It was a little rough there in certain stretches of the second and third quarter, but once you really found our groove there towards the end of the third, you're like, okay, we got the momentum back on our side. Suns are still really not clicking on all cylinders, and all we really have to do is make a couple of those open threes that we've been getting all day long, and then just run with that momentum. The crowd's on our side; they're just waiting for something to click, and you finally saw that come to fruition there at the end. 105-93 victory. Wolves take a 2-0 lead. We head back to Phoenix on Friday night. I believe it's a 9 o'clock Central start. So little Friday night late game. I'll be fine with that as long as it's not a weekday. And let's roll.
We heard a lot of Wolves in 4 chants at Target Center tonight. I still don't necessarily think that this is going to be a sweep because the Suns team is just way too talented for that. But I don't think we could have gotten off to a better start here. It's really fun basketball to watch right now.
One of my observations is when you have a very good defensive team, it does not help that you don't have a point guard. And so I'm kind of surprised that the Suns, they just don't have a point guard. I mean, there's a couple times Nurkic was running the offense, bringing the ball up. And you have Bradley Beal, he's not a point guard. Devin Booker isn't a point guard. It just seems like it's a weird offense, and then it's kind of a struggle when they're playing a team that's suffocating defensively. So I'm kind of
need Chris Paul, obviously.
I think that's a big mistake for the Suns.
Well, they thought that Bradley Beal was the answer, and obviously it's still early on their end of the spectrum. But yeah, I mean, all these guys are later in their career. They're looking to win now, and if they can't get it done in the first round, I don't know if they're going to be much more patient with this team. It goes to show with, especially in the NBA, when you go for it and you try to build the big 3 or big 4, whatever it is, you just, like Pat
you
said,
still have to have
the
specific
depth.
roles on a team to succeed. You need to have somebody who can handle the ball, who can distribute and keep the offense moving.
Yeah.
They should get Ricky Rubio. Come on now.
They should.
Be a great fit.
He's
I mean,
happy back in
yeah.
They should get Mike Conley. They need a Mike Conley.
Yeah.
I think we've seen the benefit of having that true floor general guy who can get everything organized in Mike Conley over the last season and a half plus. We saw it was different with D'Angelo Russell, who is a point guard, but he's a shoot
He's a
first
score first
point guard. Yep. And so having that team guy who can organize things, because that was something the Wolves struggled with a little bit in the regular season when Mike Conley Jr. was not out on the floor. How do you initiate offense? Anthony Edwards was playing a lot of kind of primary ball handler, which works at times too. But I think just having that mainstay, steady presence at the point guard position is so valuable, especially in the NBA playoffs.
I agree. It happens to fit our team's needs really well, and I think just having that calm, steady veteran presence is exactly what we need. You got Gobert handling it down low, not getting too high, not getting too low. I mean, sure, he's caught up in a couple petty fouls here and there, but he always keeps his cool relatively, unlike Towns. And I think we need that in this round. I think we have the veterans that we finally needed these last couple playoff runs, and I think this is the year to not only make some noise in the first round, but I mean, you've seen us play pretty. I'm not going to get too ahead of ourselves, but play pretty well against a team like Denver. We have a good game plan against Denver. Does it mean we're going to go in there and dominate them? No. They have probably the leading candidate for MVP yet again in Nikola Jokic. And I don't want to mess with that. They have Jamal Murray, who's getting hot at the right time. They have Porter Jr. They have a lot of shooters on the outside who, just like the Suns, could get hot at any moment and control a game. But I feel like at the end of the day, and I'll end on this point, is if we have our defense playing as well as they have been, not only on the perimeter, but in the post and on the offensive boards and defensive boards, that's going to lead to a lot of favorable matchups, not only in the first round, but the second round and deep into the playoffs if we do get that chance. So defense wins championships. As much as people don't want to acknowledge that in the NBA, it's true. If you're top defensively against some of the top scorers in the NBA, you can win against anybody. All you need is somebody on your team to kind of match that and make a few shots. And you saw what it was today. We weren't amazing. We didn't make that many shots, and it still felt like we had control of that game from start to finish.
All right, mock time.
Tom's bored.
I'm not bored. I think we just got to move along.
Let's do it.
I'm ready for mock.
Mock draft 1.0, 2.0? We've
1.5.
1.5.
1.5.
We've done a couple mocks here as a podcast group, just trying to run through some scenarios. And basically, what we're thinking of is 1 through 4. Everybody's going to get their own pick, and then we're going to run that through all the way through 32. So we'll just kind of go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on all the way through. Every person's going to get up to 2 trades that they can either trade up or trade down from the spot that they own at the time. And then with that pick that you end up trading, you would get control of that wherever that pick would end up going. And the person you traded with will get that pick that you gave up. So let's draw some sticks here. I got my handy dandy coffee mug. And I will say, Chris, you will be the black Sharpie. I will say, Tom, you are the green highlighter. Pat, you are the white permanent fine point whiteboard marker. And I will be the red Sharpie. And we will draw from the first pick in the mock draft. Sunday Sports 1.5 will be
Hey, that's me.
Tom.
Let's go.
All right.
I'm fielding offers for Caleb Williams.
You're in charge of the Bears? That sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Pick number 2 will be... That would be the white whiteboard marker.
That's Pat.
That would be Pat. Pick number 2. It's down to Chris and I for 3 or 4. Chris, you would be number 3, and then I will get the 4th pick, and so on. Let's get this thing rolling. I will start my screen share here. We are using the Pro Football Network draft this go around, and trades are available. And if you guys are wanting to make a move, just feel free to let me know, and I will definitely make that happen on my end.
I have both the Bears picks.
Cool. All right. The first.
Am I on the clock?
First pick overall. Chicago
All right, I'm
Bears
gonna
are on
run
the
the.
clock.
I'm gonna run. What is it? Is it 12 minutes or is it 10 now? 10 minutes. I'm gonna run it down to the wire. We're gonna think about it. You know, we really haven't made a decision, even though it's draft day. I guess we'll go Caleb Williams from USC quarterback. Personally, I don't think this is what they should do, but I think it's what they will do.
Hot take coming in here live from Tom Fisk.
He will not be the best quarterback.
One can hope
for
if he's
sure.
on
I
the board.
guarantee he's not gonna be the best quarterback in this draft class.
You guys know how Cat gets flustered and kind of whiny. Caleb Williams kind of gives me that same vibe.
Yeah.
He'll be good statistically then. He'll be great.
Oh, for sure.
I think Caleb Williams is going to be a stud. I think he is.
Don't you put that evil on us, Ricky Bobby?
It's very unfortunate, but I think he is a very, very good quarterback prospect. So it'll be fun. And he has a couple of top receivers to throw the ball to as well. So it's even more important for our Vikings to continue to beef up that defense at some point in the draft as well. Number 2 overall, I think that we've seen some steam about the Commanders. I think the likely scenario is that Jane Daniels goes number 2 here, and that is what I'm going to do in this situation. He has a couple of receivers to throw to, and we're kind of crossing our fingers here that we might see a Brandon Ayuk trade to pair with Jane Daniels at some point as well. Get a nice little situation for him rolling in Washington.
That'd be wild. They already got Terry McLaurin there. Obviously, a couple young receivers along there as well. Recent early round draft picks.
And they've got Eckler.
They do have Austin Eckler.
He's a great running back to have for a rookie quarterback.
Eckler
yeah,
sucks.
But he's a pass catcher. So if you're a rookie and you're like, dang,
is he? Because he had like 30 drops last year.
It would
so
be
many drops
historically
and fumbles.
Would be pretty cool to have Austin Eckler as a checked out option as a rookie quarterback. I won't lie.
I'm only bitter because he single-handedly tanked my fantasy season last year. I think I lost to Pat by like 2 points because he couldn't get 2 points.
All right, so pick 3. Well, I think this is the easiest pick in the entire draft because you just take.
Wait, is nobody trading up? Are the Vikings not trading up to 3 here?
No, Patriots aren't interested in trading.
Okay.
They want their franchise quarterback, and with Jaden Daniels being taken, they're going to take Drake May.
Really interesting here. You see a lot of trade down options, obviously, especially rumored with the Vikings and them having interest in not only Drake May, but maybe a J.J. McCarthy, and them missing out on the top 3. Would it increase their likelihood to trade up into the top 4 or 5? That is yet to be determined whether or not they view the top 3 as a separate tier than the rest of the quarterbacks, but we are definitely excited to see what's going to happen on Thursday night and how Kwesi kind of sorts this whole mix out. If it is that big of a quarterback rush and if he caves to that pressure, if he's willing to pay up for his guy, if one of his guys is one of the top 4 quarterbacks available in this draft or not, I'm ready to see what that will be. I think pick number 4 is obviously a spot where if a team like the Vikings or the Broncos or Raiders are super desperate to move up to get that for sure lockdown quarterback, you could see a guy like Matias and for second year GM of the Cardinals really take advantage of that move down spot like he did last year with the Texans and really get a lot of draft assets. But you're looking at them this year, I think they lead the league in the amount of draft assets that they have in the 2024 draft. Would it really benefit him to move down from 4 to 11? No, I don't think so. I think they're happy with where they are at 4, and if they don't love that exact player, they love a lot of players around that zone. I think the Giants might call and say, we might give a future third round pick to move up this year's second, maybe to move up to the 4th spot. They say, we're good on the picks. We love the player that we have here, and it's not really enough to keep us out of taking the player that we originally wanted. I'm going to stick and pick here with Marvin Harrison Jr.
All right. So you got the Chargers. I thought I heard the phone ring from the Vikings, but I'm not really sure. Just it stopped. You know what? I really wanted Marvin Harrison Jr. He's not there. I really like Malik Neighbors, but you know what? Jim Harbaugh, he builds the trenches. He went on that long rant about how the offensive line is not dependent on any other position group, and every positional group is dependent on the offensive line. So we're going to go Joe Alt at 5. We'll put him to the right side. Rashawn Slater can stay on the left side. That's a Jim Harbaugh pick if I ever did see it.
He's sponsored by Chipotle.
Chipotle sucks.
Yeah, it does now. It used to be good.
Hot take. Chipotle is amazing. You just have to order it the right way.
All right.
Okay, I feel like this is turning into Vikings doomsday worst case scenario.
That's an episode for a different day.
I think it's happening right in front of our eyes.
It's okay. We're here for all options. Oh,
I think it is as well. I think we have seen, at least in this podcast, we've talked about this group not having a ton of faith in Daniel Jones as the franchise quarterback for the New York Giants. J.J. McCarthy is sitting out there right now. We're strongly considering taking J.J. McCarthy. We also see Malik Neighbors, wide receiver 1 on the board. I personally believe that in any other draft, Malik Neighbors would probably be the number 1 receiver in this class. But obviously Marvin Harrison Jr. is a absurd talent. So with this coaching in front office in place currently, I don't think the Giants ownership group is going to allow them the luxury of having another chance at taking a quarterback. I think that they're very much on the hot seat. So we are going to stick and pick, give Daniel Jones a little bit of help here. Malik Neighbors is going to the New York Giants at pick 6.
wow.
Jeez.
This draft.
Okay,
will
now
be
Pat, was that the
interesting.
Viking in you?
I think part
Is
of
there a
it
little
could be
Viking bias?
I think part of it could be, but I just feel like the smoke that the Giants are all in on a quarterback has really lit up this last maybe 24, 48 hours. And to me, that is just signaling that maybe that some other teams trying to drive up the price for possibly the Vikings to jump ahead of them. So I'm not buying it right now. I think that Daniel Jones for this next year, I think his cap hit is like $44 million. I know they have a shot after this year at getting out of that contract. But I think just with what they've invested this year, they haven't given him a true number 1 receiver. So I think they do owe him at least one more year. And then what that'll do is next year, when they will be drafting their franchise quarterback with a new coach and a new GM in place, it gives them a little bit of a safety blanket to kind of set that quarterback up for a solid position.
For sure. definitely one of two options there with the Giants. So they go with that weapon to obviously help out Daniel Jones. Still have a little bit of ammo later in the draft to possibly finagle their way back up the draft board. Not up until pick 47 in the second round, but definitely could be one of those teams that could be looking for a quarterback that would see slipping later in the draft. Chris, you are up here with the Tennessee Titans at number 7. Offensive line, a key need for them.
Chris, my
So,
Raiders are
Tom,
calling.
I was just gonna say, Tom threw me for a loop there, taking Joe Alt. So I'm definitely answering the phone here from
Okay.
either the Raiders or the Broncos or the Vikings. Lines are open.
Well, I've got the Raiders, so they're calling.
All right, what do the Raiders want to say?
Well, we'll give you, obviously, what do we have? 13. What else do we have here, Kev?
I'm pulling her up, right? Oh, we got the 13 and 44. Would that be enough to get the job done to hop up to 7? I don't believe so. I'm moving up
Throw
6
them
spots.
25,
How about a
2025 first.
25 first plus
And-
this your second.
Yeah, we'll do that.
All right, let's see if that would work. There we go.
That should work.
I feel like I'm overpaying a little bit, but I feel like the Vikings could put together a pretty competitive offer, and the Broncos are within striking distance too, so I've got to kind of blow the other two out of the water.
For sure.
And actually, I guess 11, 23, and 2025 would have beat
Be
that.
better. Yeah, but is Quessy gonna actually go
Offer that.
for it? All right, so Raiders are trading up to 7.
Oh.
Who do they want?
They want JJ McCarthy.
Too easy.
So is
Yeah,
that
I
your
mean,
pick or my pick, Chris?
That's your pick.
Okay, so then you have
Now
13 now.
Now I have 13. Yet we have to remember that. Oh well, it'll show up on the screen.
Yep, I am just refreshing the tab here over on the mock site. I believe just getting caught up here. The first trade of the draft, obviously, at number 7, which might come as a surprise a little bit to some. Obviously, some people thinking that trades could start as soon as pick number 3 with New England. Number 4 is taking offers there with Arizona. Obviously, they're going to listen. They're going to want a lot to move out of that spot, I feel like. And then you have number 5, who I feel like they would love to have the Vikings 2 picks there if you're sitting there at Jim Harbaugh at number 5. But in this situation, that's not how it works. We're going to have the Raiders hopping the Vikings and giving the Titans a call here. And looks like they're going to get their quarterback of the future, J.J. McCarthy, which I really haven't heard much steam on as far as that goes. But
There was a lot early on, but I don't think there's been any Raiders JJ McCarthy news lately. I don't think many people think that JJ is going to fall to 7, which is kind of what would put the Raiders in a position to be able to get JJ.
Right.
And then I think the assumption is that the Vikings would be the ones that are aggressive in moving up. But in this scenario, if this happens and Kwesi doesn't trade up to 5 or 7 to pick up JJ, does he get fired at the end of the night?
Maybe next year.
I don't know.
All
feel
I
like
know
this scenario
is-
is very unlikely to happen based off of the rumors we've been hearing. But
No, why not? Anything can happen.
This mock
Or you-
is giving me anxiety as a Vikings fan, and I do not like it.
We're practicing for Thursday night.
The Titans are in such a good spot there, though, if Joe Alt actually is gone, because they don't need a quarterback, they don't need a receiver, so they could definitely just get a really good deal and still get guys they want.
for sure. All right, so I'm sitting here at 8. I'm the Falcons, who should be giving this pick to the Vikings. For the tampering case, doesn't work out that way. They still have, everybody's telling them to take. They're telling them to take defense here with Raheem Morris, but in all these mock drafts, they really didn't see an offensive weapon really fall to them in a lot of these scenarios. They already have a tight end, they have a receiver, they signed a guy like Darnell Mooney, they brought in Rondale Moore. Really not a field stretching receiver, but how about just a lockdown guy they could put opposite of Drake London? I'm going to go with Roma Dunze here out of Washington at number 8 overall. Give Kirk that reliable weapon that he needs over the middle of the field. They can line him up anywhere. 6'3", 225. Just a tank.
What a stacked offense that would be. Bijan, Drake London.
Whatever. I'm not a big Odunze guy. All right. I've got the 9 pick with the Bears, I guess. Oh, man.
Sound more excited.
Yeah, Caleb Williams. It's already been a
Does
good draft.
anybody want to trade up? Do the Saints want to trade up? Does anybody want to trade up? I'd like to move out of the spot. I have 4 picks.
No.
I've got nothing. Really, nobody wants to move up for one of the tackles or Brock Bowers?
Nope.
An edge? Oh,
No.
fine.
Not really feel it.
Okay, well then, I think conventional wisdom would be to take Dallas Turner here or an edge player, but this is about having fun, and we're going to take Brock Bowers.
Wow.
Give Caleb Williams another good weapon. I mean, the guys they already got Cole Kmet. You can never have too many good tight ends. Yeah, he's probably the best player available.
I love that pick. Stack weapons around your franchise player. Why not?
All right, Pat. The Jets, you're sitting at the draft, kind of throwing you a little bit of a curveball here. You do have an option to trade down and still get a quality tackle if that's what you're looking for. Obviously, you're set at the edge position. Are you maybe interested in an offensive weapon? You could also move down for that. A lot of different ways you could go here if you are Joe Douglas.
Yeah, we were kind of hoping that Brock Bowers was going to fall to 10 to give
Should've
Aaron
traded
Rodgers
with me.
another weapon. We thought that we were going to land with Cole Kmet in Chicago, but so we're a little surprised there. We're looking at one of the tackle options as kind of the main focus here. However, we're wondering if possibly Denver would be interested in moving up to possibly jump the Vikings, just to see if that would be of interest.
Oh, let's see. I would believe that Chris, you would be the Vikings here in that scenario. Are you interested at all in moving up?
No, I'm gonna sit. I'm gonna sit at 11 and just Vikings fans
Oh, man.
going crazy.
Quasi's
Alright.
getting fired.
I'm not making moves. I'm just sitting.
All right. Denver is getting a little itchy here with 4 quarterbacks off the board. Obviously, see this spot is not that expensive to move up to. I'm going to throw him 12 here. I'm going to throw him 76, and heck, I'm going to throw him next year's 3rd round pick. Move up 2 spots. It's been rejected. That's unfortunate.
Wow.
All right, let's
Quarterback tax.
get a little bit more
Yep.
greedy here. We want our guy. We don't want the Vikings to get. And, it's going to take a lot, apparently. These Jets, they're really settled in on their spot.
Down on the left.
Alphabetical order.
Yeah. So we're going to throw in another 4th round pick here just to get this pick and a future 3rd. Hopefully that seals the deal. There we go.
There you go.
All right. Denver Broncos, you are on the clock at 10, and I believe that would be me since I made the trade. I just took a tackle here. That'd be so sad. They're going to go ahead and take Bo Nix.
No.
They're going to take their guy.
Well, Chris, you got to be aggressive. If you have a guy you want, you got to go get him.
And
I'm glad you're not the GM.
I was guessing he's going to take Penix.
we're sitting here at the
Yeah, right. He's He's Drew Brees reincarnated.
Yeah, you've heard those connections early on with Sean Payton. I'm really excited to work with a quarterback who is ready to know where he wants to go with the ball at all times and really accurate, quick release, everything that you look for in that Sean Payton offense. I think Bo Nix would be a perfect fit for them out there in Denver with those new uniforms.
So that's 5 quarterbacks in the top 10. That's incredible.
And we are sitting here at the 11th pick as the Minnesota Vikings, and I am not in control. That would be Chris.
I'm in control. Well,
What do we
5
do here?
quarterbacks off the board. Man, I think the phones might have to be open here if we've just been sitting. You know, I wanted Bo Nix, but I thought the Broncos wouldn't take Bo Nix. I thought they'd be Penix guys.
You thought wrong.
I did.
I think we're
wrong.
Penix guys now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we're Spencer Rattler guys now.
Oh no. Well, you know what? I think Quessy's in the hot seat, and he's just gonna go for it. He probably doesn't see too much difference between Nix and McCarthy and Penix, so I think we go and take Penix here. And
wow.
KOC's, he could fit him right into the offense and just start slinging the ball to JJ when in doubt.
Vikings get their quarterback at 11. Broncos get theirs at 10. Raiders
If
get there at
this-
7. A lot of trade-ups here.
If this happens, I will delete Twitter.
I'm done.
I won't be able to even handle it. I won't be able to read anything.
So
Hey, he threw for 4,900 yards last year. It's pretty good.
I don't know. I don't mind Penix, but when you have McCarthy falling and then Bo Nix going 1 pick ahead.
So I traded down 2 spots here with the Jets. I believe that would be
I'm back on the clock.
Pat, yeah.
And the guy that we were targeting at pick 10 is still on the board. So we're going to stick and pick and take Fashanu, offensive tackle.
Great value. That would seem unlikely to get a top 2 tackle in the draft and still accumulate draft assets. But you never know with this quarterback class. Who knows? Titans are now on the clock after moving down from 7 to 13.
Yep. So,
Yeah, this is Chris's pick.
that'd be me because I traded my pick. So we're still gonna go offensive tackle. We're gonna go JC. Is it Latham or Latham
Latham.
from Alabama? He's 360 pounds. Obviously he is gonna be good because he played at Alabama, and so I think that's a no-brainer. They don't get Joe Alt, but they get someone who might be just as good.
Actually, I was listening to something today saying that don't be surprised if JC Latham is the second tackle off the board.
There you have it. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see either the Saints or Chargers or even Titans, some team that needs a right tackle specifically, value him just as much as one of those left tackle prospects coming up. You just a plug-and-play guy that you could see right away. So we are looking at pick number 14. Who's up for the Saints?
I believe I'm back on the clock for the Saints. And we are going to go tackle here, but we are not going to take Latham. We're going to go with Fuaga, if I'm saying that
Latham
correct.
is off the board. So.
Oh, well, that makes it easy then. We're going to go Fuaga, if I'm saying that correctly.
Tally.
All
right. Out of Oregon State, can really play all over the line. Pretty flexible guy, I believe. Has the ability to play tackle at the next level. Right tackle would probably be a pretty good fit there in New Orleans, just replacing Ryan Ramczyk and his productivity over the years. That brings the Colts up at number 15.
Have we had a defensive player picked yet?
We have not.
What is the lowest a draft has gone without having a defensive player picked? Because I cannot imagine it's 15, let alone.
I think this would be a new record.
Yeah.
And the Colts are looking to break this
That
record.
that would be me. I think if you're the Colts, you're looking at cornerback for sure. Arnold is kind of the consensus pick. But if the draft goes this way, I mean, how do you not take Dallas Turner? He's clearly the best player available on the board. So you're the Colts, just take the best player. I mean, they do need help in most areas of their team. So I'm just gonna pick Dallas Turner.
I think Colts fans would be pretty thrilled if that's who fell to him at
Absolutely.
15.
Yeah, for sure. All right, pick 16, Seattle. A lot of different directions that we could go here. Offensive guard, center, linebacker, tackle, and cornerback, all needs. You look at what they've addressed recently in drafts, cornerback being one of them last year with Withers. I really just think that they're going to stick here. All the quarterbacks are gone. They could have gone that way. But I think you're going to see a little bit of a surprise pick. Not too much, though. Byron Murphy, the second, going here as a defensive tackle out of Texas. Second best defensive player on their board. And obviously, you could go corner there, but they're going to shore up that middle of that defensive line and really get Aaron Donald level of a player.
Whoa,
Here
whoa,
at number
whoa.
16,
Oh.
once Donald
Wow.
has retired out of that division, they're looking to wreak havoc there up the middle.
Yeah, I've heard so many good things about Murphy lately that his stock has just risen, and don't be surprised when he goes in the top 10. Jacksonville, I wanted Dallas Turner, but there was a couple other edge players that were still available, so I just stayed, and we're thrilled to get Jared Verse.
Jared Verse staying in Florida,
Staying in Florida.
going to Jacksonville from Florida State. Really good pick here for Jacksonville, obviously adding to that opposite side of Josh Allen, the pass rusher. All right, pick number 18 with the Bengals. Pat.
So we haven't seen a defensive back taken at this point in the draft so far. And I think for the Bengals right now, they see a lot of value in Quinion Mitchell. So that's where we're going to go. Stick and pick, get a defensive back to help that
Staying in
secondary.
Ohio is Quinion Mitchell. That would be a great value for them at 18. Not moving up at all, just sticking and picking like Pat said. A great value. Number 19 would be up here, Chris. To the Rams.
Yep, Los Angeles Rams. Definitely need to find a replacement on the D line. No longer have a certain Hall of Famer. So Johnny Newton seems like a good pick. But I'm going with the kind of attitude I had with the Colts pick is, take the best player on the board, and in my opinion, they also do need defensive back more than they need an edge rusher. So we'll take Terrion Arnold, another Alabama guy. I guess I'm kind of biased towards picking Alabama guys.
There's going to be a lot.
Do you see why Kwesi wants to keep the 23 pick? Like, I feel like there are so many good players that have just gone between 17 and 19, and there's so many good players that are still left.
Yeah, there is. So it makes sense. Fans could be mad all they want, but if they do their research right, and somehow, I still think it's very slim that we stick at 11 and stick at 23. I just don't see that happening, but you see why.
You
that
see
pick
why.
could be valuable. Yeah. All right, pick number 20. Is that me? Steelers. Steelers. Just looking at, they got offensive tackle, center, cornerback, wide receiver. A lot of needs here. I think you're looking at Troy Fautanu, and that's just way too much value for this point without having to move up at all. You're just going to sit there and take the best offensive lineman on the board.
All right, Dolphins. They need some offensive guard help. They lost Robert Hunt, so we're gonna take the best guard available, Graham Barton from Duke.
Just listened to an interview with Graham Barton today on a podcast. Really smart guy. You could definitely tell that he's ready to handle the center position if need be. Could kick out to guard. Idolized the likes of David Bakhtiari when he played tackle. Really liked how he was able to explode off the ball with the size that he had. Um, Not too big of an athlete like some of these bigger tackles and athletes are, but he knows how to use his size and athleticism and really take advantage of that. So I definitely like this fit here with the Dolphins. Definitely something that they need for Tua to stay upright and really establish that front push with that run game and speed game that they have. You can't have guys being pushed back into the line of scrimmage on plays when you're trying to get it off the line of scrimmage fast and off. All right. Pick 22. Pat?
Back on the clock. So we saw the Eagles defense get kind of blown up a little bit. A lot of cap restrictions on the defense this year. So that's where we're looking, and we're going to take one of my favorite defenders in the draft, Chop Robinson. I think he has some of the best pure athleticism in the draft. We've seen a lot of comparisons to Mike Parsons coming out. I don't think he's that polished of a player, but I think he's a guy in 2 to 3 years we could be talking about as the best edge rusher in this class. The production didn't necessarily match the athleticism at Penn State, so I think that's why you're seeing him where he's at in the draft. But I think he has all the tools, and with the right coaching, I think he's a double-digit sack guy for a number of years in the future.
Yeah, it just feels like the Eagles have really hit the defense hard, obviously with a lot of aging guys there to replace the last couple of years. Fletcher Cox is still on the team, no? I believe.
Yep.
Didn't he
Is
just sign another deal?
Brandon Graham still around? So
Or maybe it's Brandon Graham.
I'm not sure.
Brandon
But
Graham just signed another deal.
one of the two of them, I feel like, retired. But they just took Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith out of Georgia, both last year with their 2 first-round picks. So just yet again finding value here with freaks of athletes. They just lost Hassan Reddick, so this would be that replacement younger piece here on the edge for the Eagles. I mean, you got Jordan Davis there. So many young, talented guys that they're just ready to get young and stay for another Super Bowl run here. I believe Chris would be up here yet again with the Vikings.
Yeah, so a couple players that I would have wanted are gone now. Chop Robinson being one of them.
We do have our quarterback.
But we do have our quarterback. So right now I'm kind of torn between Latu and Cooper DeJean. But I'm just not feeling all that confident in Cooper. And I know we signed Bullard and we got Greenard. But I think you just lost, your franchise pass rusher. And so, and of course, Vikings like UCLA guys, so we're going to go with Latu.
Chris, did you consider Johnny Newton at all?
I did, but I really would want Byron Murphy. But yeah, I don't know.
Sure.
Once Byron Murphy was gone, I was like, okay. Not going to pick D-tackle.
Really adds to that, obviously, with the additions of Jonathan Grenard as well as Andrew Van Ginkel there on the outside. Now we add another young edge rusher with Leatu Latu. Really another weapon for Brian Flores on that defense to play with. Get that offensive side of the ball squared away this year, and it should be looking very promising for another stellar year for the Vikings. Right. And I believe I would be up with the Cowboys. Let's roll. I believe they're sitting here with an obvious need on the offensive line. You look at their top guy available, Amarius Mims. You could just plug him in at right tackle right away. You could look at an interior tackle or guard guy that could kick in. I'm going to go with Tyler Guyton here. There's a little bit of a reach, but a guy that's not too far away from Dallas there in Oklahoma, and a guy that they could envision as kind of a developmental guy to be that next strong piece after losing Tyron Smith this offseason for them.
Is that me up 25 with the Packers?
That
then?
would be you, Tom, yes.
So, okay, we have Jordan Love now, and he's emerged as the starter, but we need a backup quarterback. So we're going to go Michael Pratt from Tulane.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
Ha.
Packers usually just take a defensive lineman or offensive lineman that nobody's heard of. But in this case, Johnny Newton's still on the board. They have probably more pressing needs, but I think Johnny Newton's a little too good to pass up, and you can never have too many good defensive linemen. So Johnny Newton.
Great pick there for the Packers, and I hate when they have good picks. All right, pick number 26, Pat, Tampa.
So I think Tampa could use some interior offensive line help. I considered throwing a little wild card out here with Brian Thomas still being on the board and adding to a nice little 3 deep that they could have going in Tampa here. But we're going to stick and pick, and we're going to go with Jackson Powers Johnson. He has a little bit of positional flexibility, can play guard or center, and it'll definitely help Baker in that offense move forward.
For sure. Just a bull down in the middle there. And definitely somebody that they could use to keep Baker upright for another playoff run here. All right. I believe
Chris, you got Arizona?
Chris.
I got Arizona.
Your phone's ringing.
I wasn't really expecting a phone call, but okay, I'll pick it up and see.
It's MCDC, Motor City, Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. They want to move up to 27.
Now let's see what you're willing to give up here. These Lions really need somebody, huh?
We'll give you 29. Yeah, 73.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? We'll do it because, you know, the guy I was picking, I think there's a couple other guys that are just as valuable.
All right. Who are you picking, Dan Campbell? I mean,
it's not necessarily a need, but I think this player has the chance to take our offense to the next level. We're going to take Brian Thomas Jr. I think there's a huge drop-off after that, and I think Brian Thomas Jr., talent-wise, could be up there with Rome Odunze and maybe not quite Malik Neighbors, but Rome Odunze for sure. And I didn't want the Bills to take him. So I thought I had to get ahead of the Bills, and when he just kept getting closer and closer, and we had to take the shot.
All right, so that would mean I would be up with the Bills here, and you just took my guy here. If I'm the Bills, I'm not super happy about that.
What about Mitchell?
I'm not super thrilled with the guys that are on the board right now. I think I could maybe get a guy in day 2 of a similar caliber, so I think the phones are going to be ringing. And with the phones going to be ringing, look at a team here that could move up and take advantage of that tackle market who really didn't get a chance to identify one of their guys early in day 1, and I believe that would be probably the Saints. We're going to go... No, we gave the Saints a tackle.
Didn't they take Fuaga?
Yeah, I'll scroll up here.
Were you just making that up as you went?
Saints took Fuaga. So, if I am the Cardinals or the
Cardinals pick at 27.
Raiders don't have much of a. They pick at 29 now, so I'm going
Or
to.
29.
That's tricky, tricky, tricky. One of these teams is going to make a move up, and I will see who.
Could it be Washington? Perhaps, actually. I think it'd be Washington. I think Washington's in the market for an offensive lineman. They've got 2 second-round picks, 2 thirds.
Washington
They've got the
is
draft
on
capital.
phone. They're sitting here at 36, and they want to hop up to 28, and they are going to offer 78 to make. Let's do 67. 67 and 139, and that should get the deal. There we go.
I was going to say that.
All right. Then we get our guy, Mary Smims here. Probably the last offensive tackle worth noting on that top board of offensive tackles before you see a little drop off there into the second round. All right. The Cardinals would be on the draw. It would be 29 overall here after moving down just 2 slots.
So I'm going to stick with who I originally wanted to pick at 27, and I'm going to go with Nate Wiggins. They already have wide receiver and Marvin Harrison, and I think they need to spend this pick on defense. And they have Murphy Bunting, but they could definitely use another cornerback. And Wiggins he's a sizable cornerback. He's 6'2", so I think I would take him over Cooper.
All right. It's a good pick for them. They end the day with some extra draft equity, of course, as well as Marvin Harrison Jr. and Nate Wiggins. That would be after. Would it be
believe
Tom
I'm on the clock.
or Pat? Pat would be up with number 30, Baltimore.
I think I'm back up. So Ravens here, I think could go a number of different ways. We're gonna keep gunning for offense. And we know last year we went with Zay Flowers in the first round, and we are going to add another receiver. I believe Odell Beckham Jr. is a free agent and hasn't signed anywhere, so we have a little bit of an opening. Rashad Bateman hasn't panned out to kind of what we have hoped. So we're going to take a Donnie Mitchell, wide receiver.
Are you worried about his diabetes? Did you read that article or that little clip?
I thought that was one of the most absurd draft rumors of all time. He gets a little cranky when his blood sugar's off. Just come on.
Just give him a Snickers bar and he's good.
Gatorade.
Absurd. The talent is there.
Some team early in day 2 leaked that to hope that he falls out.
Absurd.
All right. Pick 31, which would be the 49ers. Man.
Right?
A lot of needs that
that's
they
you.
have here. I think the phone's ringing.
Everyone wants to call me. What's up with this? All right. I'll answer. Let me hear it.
Well, there's a team sitting there just inside of the second round, and they are looking at this cornerback depth. They're like, I gotta get a piece of this. So they are going to hop back in, and that would be the New England Patriots.
Yeah, well, hold on. I don't know if I want to trade. I want to hear what your offer is.
The New England Patriots are going to offer the 34th overall pick for this 31, as well as the 103rd and next year's 4. Oh, what do you know?
Whoa. Chris didn't even accept it.
Yeah,
what is this?
Didn't
This
even
is
get to see it.
Oh my gosh.
This
is outrageous.
He's
Look
got to turn
at
off
4
his
of the last
computers.
5 picks are trades.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this would be the area that the trades would be seen the most, with a lot of guys that could be falling to
especially with
D2.
a bunch of defense left. Yeah.
If it works like this, there's a lot of high-end defensive players that are probably deserving to go on day 1 that won't end up getting picked and the Patriots are going to take Cooper DeJean out of Iowa here with that return ability, as well as that opposite corner of their first round pick last year, Christian Gonzalez. I really like that value there for them, not having to give up too much and also getting their quarterback of the future. Really good first day for New England and Elliott Wolf in his first year as GM.
All right, Kev, you got 32.
Well, I believe I should give this to Chris after I.
Well, I'm
snitched his,
calling.
uh,
I've got a team calling.
I don't know. I don't know if they. I mean, they're sitting here with Kool-Aid McKinstry and just trading away a cornerback in Snead. I don't know. That value just seems too much. It's going to have to be a lot to move up into this first round and get that fifth year of eligibility. What are you calling with?
The New York Football Giants are calling the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll give you our 46 and is it 46? No, 47 and 70.
Is this going where I think it's going?
Damn right it is. for 32.
Well, it seems like you broke the simulator. Let me try again. All right. Kansas City Chiefs here would be
Alphabetical order there, Kev.
name of versus the New York Giants. Correct. There we go. And they're going to offer... Ooh, it's going to have to be a lot, top of 15 here, Tom. And they don't have much to offer.
Well, the Jimmy Johnson chart, I'm actually overpaying as it is. Not by a lot, by a little.
Oh, trade rejected.
Rejected? Wow.
That did
Whatever.
not
Add a
work.
future third, whatever.
Oh, man. This is a stickler trade here, Tom.
I don't think the Giants would ever do this much.
Well,
I don't
Right.
even see who you really want.
if this is going where I think it's going, that fifth year option could be of much value here.
We are going to
It's
take
accepted.
the embattled and the through adversity Spencer Rattler.
Ho, ho, ho.
I love that.
Wow.
They have competition. They have somebody who has potential to be an NFL starter and a pretty good player, who can either push Danny Dimes or he can step in and take Danny Dimes' job right away. And it didn't really cost him a whole lot.
So trades,
And like Pat said, fifth year option.
trades in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6 picks, with only 3 trades previous, probably an all-time record here for first round trade backs, I believe.
Sorry, I did 3 of them. I know the rule was 2, but
I don't,
I
I
don't
don't
think
know
I did
why.
any.
What
this Spencer Rattler one was too fun to pass up.
I don't know what you see in Spencer Rattler. I don't think he's very good.
I don't see him.
I think
I mean, he
at 32,
he wasn't even that good in college.
I feel like they could just sit him
He can't
and
run.
take him day 2. Who else is going to move up? Who else are you
Yeah.
worried about day 2?
well, like Pat said, fifth year option is pretty valuable.
Not when you have a below average quarterback who you don't want to pay.
I think it's valuable no matter what your situation is. I mean, you have say Spencer Rattler pans out and he's just a solid quarterback. Say he's like Andy Dalton level. I mean, that's pretty good for.
I think
the
the
Giants.
biggest winner in this mock draft is the Patriots. Drake May and Cooper DeJean.
Yeah.
It's pretty dang nice.
I still don't know that Drake May succeeds in New England without having any additional pieces or anything like that. That is, I don't know that is a landing spot that any of these top quarterbacks are wanting to go to right now.
I think that's something that really favors the Vikings in this trade negotiation. I think that's why the Vikings even have the audacity to withhold the 23rd pick or attempt to, because they know New England's sitting in a spot where whoever they take at 3 they're going to crumble. There's no way that they can support whoever they take at 3. So New England needs to trade down just as bad as the Vikings need to trade up. So I've criticized Kwesi a lot, but I'm pretty glad he has not budged yet, and I really hope that it's Elliott Wolf bowing out of the game of chicken on Thursday.
Here's one thing I haven't seen floated a lot, but if I had gotten the third pick, this is what I would have done. Kind of similar to what I did with the Giants, taking Neighbors instead of McCarthy at 6. What if the Patriots decide to stick and pick Marvin Harrison Jr. at pick number 3?
I think they absolutely should. I think
that would be
absolutely should.
Because again, whether you then are trading back into the late first and take one of these, quarterback 5, 6, or 7 in this case, you have an immediate number 1 receiver ready for them. Or if they decide to wait a year and again continue to build out the roster through free agency and the rest of the draft, then that's a much better situation than someone coming in and being expected to start day one, especially with Drake May and some of the stuff we've heard that it's going to take him, a little bit before he's expected to start. And I know they have Jacoby Brissett, but I don't know. It just would be an interesting situation that I haven't seen thrown out a whole lot.
Well, then they also have the ability to. Okay, I in real life, I don't think Bo Nix and Penix go 10 and 11. I think one of them for sure fall past 20. So right there, you don't think one of.
I would, if I was able to bet on it, I would say that
you are able
5 or 6 of the quarterbacks will all go within the top 15, top half of the first round.
I don't see Bo Nix and Penix.
If the Patriots could trade up and get Bo Nix or Penix, along with drafting Marvin Harrison, that'd be pretty incredible.
That's what I think that is a realistic, outcome. If they take Marvin Harrison at 3, I think they could easily move back into the end of the first round and snag one of them.
Yeah,
or Spencer Rattler,
pretty good. Like, might as well sell all out for a franchise quarterback and a franchise receiver. I mean,
just looking at this draft, it seems super unrealistic. But just looking at no defensive players taken until number 15 overall, and then all of a sudden defense,
Mm-hmm.
5 straight defensive players.
I mean, if we're gonna have as many quarterbacks actually go in the top 15, that is a realistic outcome.
Yeah, well,
if you think 6 quarterbacks are going in the first 15 picks, then Dallas Turner, Byron Murphy, they probably would get pushed down.
Yeah, you're definitely going to see some of those defensive needy teams moving up into that middle of right after that tier is over. And that's where you really, like we see here with the tackle movement, the tackles falling, that creating some movement. The defensive players kind of sticking and picking there as well. And then the later end of the first round would be where the move-ups would be. But just really interesting to see where some of those trades might happen. Obviously, this mock just a sample of what we could see. Some much more to be coming in the future. Hopefully we can do another mock here tomorrow night. I was going to say it could be titled Worst Case Scenarios for the Vikings, but it looks like Chris kind of just manhandled the Vikings to have the worst case scenario with Juddy jumping off of the 35W bridge here.
That's what I was going
in
for
less than 36 hours. So really excited to see if Juddy did get that jumpsuit ordered in time. Otherwise, we might have to be calling the Coast Guard, or I don't even know who monitors that land down there underneath.
Probably nobody.
Well, R.I.P. Juddy.
No, he'll survive.
Is that going to be the title of the podcast?
Penix is going to go throw for 30 touchdowns.
He might, and get hurt.
He's a gunslinger. I don't like the fact that he can't run. That's what bothers me. But he's got a great arm, so
4 or 5.
I like everything about him as a passer, but I don't like the fact that when things came, you like to see people succeed when the pressure's the highest. And sure, he brought his team to the college football playoff, and you saw how good he could be against a team like Texas. And then you see him, so that's the best case scenario, him thriving in a pro style offense, making all the throws. Then you see the worst case scenario, the game after, where he's getting hit and he can't create any offense and he's not mobile enough to create on his own. So it's just, you're limited to what you can do as an offense. And I feel like,
You think Penix, like purposely never ran in college after his ACLs just so he could not be hurt and end up being a first round pick?
I
Like
don't
he
know.
maybe was just like, I'm not gonna run anymore because I can't tear my knee again.
I mean, look at a guy like Tua. He
mean, did
doesn't
he-
run at all.
Did he
So-
need to? I mean, Penix threw for what, 4,000 yards or
No,
whatever.
he
and
didn't. He threw
30
for
some touchdowns,
4,900 yards.
I'm not saying you.
Yeah.
I'm not
right.
saying you
doesn't
need
really
to
need
run.
to.
You don't need to run to be successful as a quarterback, especially in a
I know.
Vikings offense. But it just kind of limits that upside that all of the other quarterbacks give us the capability of doing.
Mhm.
Even Bo Nix, really athletic in the pocket when the play breaks down, able to maneuver within the pocket when needed to, and create for his own. You could see that to a little extent with Penix, but it's just like you feel like you're capped. And you don't want to feel capped with a rookie quarterback. You want to feel like you have room to grow. So we'll see.
I don't think we're gonna leave the first round without one of JJ McCarthy or Drake May come Thursday. That's my prediction. I think one of them will be the quarterback of the future for the Vikings. So this situation for me, Chris, not that you did a poor job drafting, but it's about my worst case scenario. Should we wait and pick sixth quarterback at pick 11? But I think we did see, again, with all these quarterbacks going early, just how much more valuable that 23rd pick is going to be. Even moving up from that pick, getting one of the top 2 or 3 defenders in the draft seems like a certain possibility. I don't know. It's Thursday is going to be a ton of fun, and I think it's the most excited I've been for a draft in a really long time.
Yeah, not to keep this conversation dragging, but I mean, sitting there at 23, if, what happened in our mock to happen, they could move up and get Dallas Turner. They could move up, who fell to 15. They could move up and get Byron Murphy, who fell to 16, I think, right? I mean, that's great. That puts him in a great position.
Yeah, I mean, it leaves them with options, that's for sure. And that's what you saw Kwesi and KOC talk about after the deal was made. Sure, you have, I believe, was it Adam Schefter who came out shortly after and said that the Texans were the ones who initiated the trade in order to... Why would the Texans initiate the trade? That makes no sense.
It was for the Stephon Diggs deal.
Sure, you're looking at that now to acquire assets to acquire Diggs, but they have to do that. And in our minds, sure, we made the deal because 2 firsts looks a lot more attractable or attractful. Attractive, thank you, than a couple of second rounders do, especially in this year's locked and loaded class. So I see why we made the deal, but I don't believe the theory that it wasn't up to us to initiate the deal. I feel like we initiated the deal to acquire assets to move up, like Pat said, to get our guy. And whether our guy is JJ McCarthy or Drake May, I don't really. If we can move up, whether it's top 5, whether it's top 7, find a team, find the value, give up what you need to, get your guy. Everyone's happy. We're just sick of waiting. So I think we can all agree on that step.
Can't wait for Thursday.
Can't wait for Thursday. Thanks for joining in, guys. It was a fun mock draft. Hopefully you guys didn't get too bored with all of our trade back scenarios. We might run it back here again in a day before the official draft starts in Detroit, just 2 days away. So excited for that. Thanks for joining. Skol.
Goal
Skol.
bikes.
Go Wolves.
I got 'em.